This is a quick look at the cameras I use for all my outdoor photography, which I've been doing for decades now, going right back into film days. And over the years I've had quite a number of different cameras from several different brands. But in 2010, when my last DSLR failed, I settled for Sony. And the reason then was there were only 4 mirrorless camera brands in 2010: Sony, Olympus, Panasonic and Samsung. The latter, of course, has dropped out of making mirrorless cameras. I tried out models from all 4 at a shop, Jessop's in Inverness, so I could handle them, see what I thought, and I decided that the Sony NEX was the one I liked best. It felt most secure in the hand, and the different controls seemed okay. I won't say brilliant, but they were okay, at least as good as the DSLR I'd just given up. I wanted one of these mirrorless cameras because they were lightweight, much lighter than my DSLR, and more compact, which when you're carrying camera gear into the hills, especially on multi-day trips, that's quite important. And I've stuck with that Sony range ever since. Back then it was called NEX. It changed to being just part of the Alpha range with the prefix 6, starting with the 6000. Now, the best NEX camera I had, and now my oldest camera, is the NEX 7, which I really liked because it had got 2 customizable control dials here on the top, so I could set one for aperture and one for shutter speed. Again, because of what I learned in film days, I tend to stick to manual controls for everything except autofocus, and sometimes for focus as well. And I was quite pleased with the NEX 7. Then when I was doing a long walk, I wanted a second camera as well in case this one failed. Previously I'd had failures on long walks and had taken to always carrying 2 camera bodies. And by then the name had changed to the Alpha 6 whatever series. This was the first one, the Alpha A6000. So I got one of these to go with this. As you can see, very similar size and weight. It doesn't have the 2 customizable controls on the top, and I missed that, but it worked okay. And these 2 served me until just over 2 years ago on lots of long walks. They took lots of pictures, which were perfectly fine, many of which have been published, but they were starting to fail. I mean, with the A6000, which became my main camera once I got it, the electronics have gone, shall we say, a bit funny. It's not predictable. Sometimes it'll switch off. Sometimes it'll suddenly set things that I don't want it to set, but certainly becoming unreliable. The NEX 7, the screen on the back had started to be completely dark in one corner, quite a large area, so that you couldn't see what you were photographing there, and as you can see, bits of it had started to fall off as well. But to be fair, both of them have had an awful lot of use outdoors where I've looked after them, but you know, they've been put down on the ground. Neither of them is weatherproof, but they've been used in rain and snow. They've suffered lots of different temperature changes, and I can't really complain about them. But one thing they were not good at, which in the last few years I've started to do more of, is video. They were mainly sold, you know, as film cameras. The hybrid type of video and still camera is relatively new. But one of the things with this is, although the screen is articulated, You can put it to there so you can look down at it to take a photo. You can fold it down so you can hold it up and look at it to take a photo. But you can't flip it to the side or up, so you can't see yourself for making videos. And I missed that, because I had quite a few videos that I thought I'd got positioned right. You know, I'd take a still shot and think that'll work. But then when I looked at the video, I'd cropped the top of my head off, or I was talking about my footwear, pointing at my feet, but you couldn't actually see them. So there were a lot of, you know, misshot videos that I had to redo. So I knew that when these were failing and I wanted a new camera, it was going to be a Sony. There was no question of that. But I wanted one that would be better for video. And the first one I got, which is what this is being filmed on, was the A6600, because this had a flip-up screen so I could see myself, and it also had the advantage of a battery that was much bigger than the ones for the NEX7 and A6000, and it lasts in fact over twice as long, which means you don't have to carry as many spares, which in part compensates, however, for the weight difference, because the NEX7 and A6000 weigh 365 and 371 grams respectively. That's with battery and memory card, without the protective cover. And the 6600 weighs 567 grams. So that's a fair jump. But I felt it was worth it for the advantages when shooting video. However, shortly after I bought the A6600, which if I'd known about I'd have waited, the A6700 came out, and that looked even better for what I wanted. And I got one, and for the last 2 years this has been my main camera. It weighs actually a few grams less than the 6600. I mean 3 grams I think, and not enough to be significant, but it has other huge advantages. I mean, one is that the screen doesn't flip up, it flips to the side, which means you can see it clearly if you've got a microphone mounted on the top or a flash or anything else. And also, you know, you can have it that way, and when it closes it's covered, so it's protected, which it isn't on any of the other cameras. The menu system is far better and far easier to use than this. Having got the A6600 out to shoot this video so that I could show the A6700, I realised how awkward and badly designed the menu system is on the 6600. It's not dissimilar to the menu systems on these two. They changed it completely for this. It's a much easier menu to use, which I really like. Now, I don't think still photos there's any significant difference between the NEX7 and the A6700. They look fine to me, and to a great extent the lens matters more than the sensor. It's 24 megapixels in this, 26 in this, but really, yeah, if you blow a picture up enormously and, you know, enlarge the corners to 200%, you can see a difference. But in real life this is not significant. People don't do that with photos. So in terms of stills, I could have just got a second-hand one of these, it'd be the same. But in terms of video, it's a huge difference, and this is a much better camera because it's designed, as I said, as a hybrid. It's designed as a stills and video camera, not a stills camera on which you can take video if you want. So this has become my main camera despite the extra weight. I have to say I am very pleased with it. It's weather sealed, which to say these aren't, not that they ever suffered from the weather. Whether the electronics in this are going is maybe due to that, I don't know. But this one I have more confidence, using in bad weather. It's got a dial on the front and a dial on the back, so this is returning to the customizable options of the NEX7, which I missed on the A6000. So I'm pleased with that, given, as I say, that I'm always using manual exposure, or 90% of the time. It's much easier to set it up for video, both with the controls on the top and also with another wheel at the back here. And overall, at the moment, this is as close to an ideal camera as I can imagine. And I'm now going to swap this for the A6600, so I can shoot the video on this, which is much easier and which I much prefer. And I'm then going to show you the lenses that I use and which ones I take out when and why. And I hope you found this interesting, and if you did, please subscribe.